One of the targets of Operation Vulindlela is to address housing issues in the country by working with municipalities on the backlog of title deeds for affordable housing, enabling access to credit and turning houses into assets for poor households. The Presidency's Rudy Dix says this has not been an easy task as the operation moves into complex challenges faced by local municipalities.
In this phase, we're not targeting all municipalities. We're targeting the key metros and, of course, some of the secondary cities. And it's important because it's about the economies of scale and how it impacts metros, 65% of the population and potentially 60% or 70% of GDP. And this is about creating ring-fence utilities, ultimately for water and electricity, so that you can see the kind of investments, maintenance going back into water electricity. Where we see across metros, this has been failing quite significantly so. A lot of the work has been doing, and it's a difficult space because there are councils that you've got to work with, councillors, mayors, the executive authority. You can't simply go in.
According to the report, the standardizing and professionalization of the appointment of senior officials in local government will also be key in adequately responding to evolving challenges faced by communities.
City of Johannesburg runs, for example, technical and survey data, Gauteng, for example, similarly in COJ, eThekwini, and similarly elsewhere. I think that data around the challenges is there. I also think that in some instances, there are really well thought through plans. But where it is a challenge is the execution.
Independent economist Duma Qubule has poured cold water on the proposed interventions, saying in its current form, Operation Vulindlela won't serve to bring about change in the lives of South Africans.
The hope is that there will be an investment boom. Because you're creating space for the private sector. But South Africans can't afford to pay for electricity, they can't afford to pay for water, they can't afford to pay for basic services. So the private sector, by definition, it only cherry picks prime customers and it leaves the majority of South Africans who can't afford, 80% of South Africans, the second economy that can't afford to pay for these services to fend for themselves. How can that be a strategy for our economy? And last year, we saw a collapse of investment of 3.9%. And so what success is the government talking about?
Qubule says municipalities are underfunded and that millions of South Africans want a functional government that is able to deliver public services.
Our country is collapsing and the government is looking to the private sector to solve what should be a public sector problem. Public sector, we must take profit out of electricity, out of water, and local government must provide more funding to local government here. This next phase, it's local government. But without more money and better governance, there will be no changes to the desperate situation that we are finding ourselves in Joburg and other cities throughout the country.
While continuing to drive implementation of reforms initiated during Phase 1, the second quarter of Phase 2 will focus on freight logistics systems and the digital transformation roadmap that has since been approved by Cabinet. It will also outline timeframes with the hope of timely responding to evolving challenges in the economy. Katlego, Legodi, SABC News in Johannesburg.